Hi, y'all. It's Jamie for Pixi Dust Designs, and I am so excited for the new release by Pixi Dust Designs. And today I'm going to be using the Christmas Cane Companion die set from the new release to make some Christmas candy cane holders. However, I've got a bonus idea, so be sure to stay tuned towards the end because I'm going to show you how we can kind of broaden the die set. Now, I have made 4 of these off camera, and we are going to make one reindeer together. And then I'm going to show you how to make these backing pieces, which one is a box and one is kind of a slip design to put candy canes in. Also, you can do pens. You could do so many different things to put into these. So this set comes with everything that you need to make what I just showed you. I want to start off doing some light ink blending around some of my elements. So I've already die cut my pieces so we can make the reindeer candy cane holder. And I'm just using some brown ink to go around the edges. I'm going to use a darker red to kind of go around that fun scarf element, which has 2 pieces as you see there, which I really like because I like creating additional dimension. I'm going to start by layering and putting together the face. Now, I had to twist it around. That wider piece needs to be towards the bottom, which, as you can see, you can easily identify that by making sure that the piece that I'm putting on, which is part of the top of the reindeer head, fits from edge to edge. So just if you get it a little upside down, just turn it and then it'll be fine. The horns, I put a little dab of liquid glue onto the back of each of these, and then I'm just going to kind of press those in place and make sure that they are lined up the way that I wanted to. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that those are centered at an angle that I like, which I do. I like the way that this is here. And then I can start putting on some of the other pieces. I place the ears similarly to the horns, where I'm putting that on the back of my reindeer head, just on each side. For the eyes, I'm just going to put a little dot of glue on each of the white back pieces of the eyes, and then I can layer on the black piece that goes over it. Now, I love the Pixi Dust Designs eyes because I love the shapes of them. A lot of times they'll have fun lashes or kind of sparkle elements. The holes for this one are pretty small, so I wanted it to be a little bit brighter of the white space. So I'm just adding a little bit of white with a gel pen. I then can figure out kind of the placement with my nose because I don't really want it to be too far down. I don't want my eyes to be too far up. So I'm just kind of putting the nose where I think I want it to be. And then I can go ahead and put little dots of glue for where I'm going to stick my eyes. Using my picker tool, I just pick up those eyes and then I can put them on. And don't you, it just brings the whole face together. And I absolutely love that. I can then put a little dot of glue for where I'm going to put my nose. I then take a gold kind of marker and I'm just going over the deboss lines in the ears. I thought that would add a little bit of fun there. And then using my white gel pen to add some dots to the little reindeer head. I then can put together my scarf, which is just layering these 2 pieces on using some liquid glue before putting some liquid glue on the back of my reindeer head and putting that layered onto the scarf. There is a little element on the very bottom of the candy cane holder, or again, this could be a pencil holder. It does have a good pencil kind of shape. And I could have done that in a different color, had more interest with that. I wanted to keep my body of my candy cane holder for this reindeer monochromatic, but I do go in with some ink to just kind of darken it up and add a little variation there. Now I'm going to show you how we add the element on the back that you can slip the candy cane through or the pencil through these little holes. I started by trying to curve the paper that are these 2 pieces that you cut out. And as you can see, we have the one element with the 2 slits in it, and then I'm taking the paper, kind of trying to push it through the back. Now, there's a couple of different ways you could do this. I've tried each way. I don't think one way is easier than the other, but you can see on the back that I'm just bringing it to the edge and I kind of bent it a little bit. So that way I knew exactly what spacing I needed. I put the glue there and then I'm going to hold it with my tweezers just to make sure I really get a really good connection with the glue and the cardstock and it's not going to come up and slip away. I then do the same thing with the other side of this element. And then I can go and I can do the next piece, which is the layer on top or bottom, whichever I did first. It doesn't really matter. It can go either way. There is no real top or bottom. So now I can put my reindeer head onto my candy cane element, and I just use liquid adhesive to do that as well. I think it could be kind of fun if you wanted to pop it up. I wouldn't pop that up too much, but I think a little thin foam would be great on that. I can then take that backing piece. When I flip over my candy cane element, I put liquid adhesive and I'm just going to line that up edge to edge as straight as possible, which, the fact that it's cut to size is wonderful with this die. And then I can just make sure that I'm pushing it down all around the edges. I use my tweezers to get into the center part because I don't want to flatten my little curved pieces that my pen or my pencil or my candy cane are going to go through. And then here's how that would just slip in just like that. So a fun Christmas themed, pencil would fit perfect there. Again, a candy cane, and that would be so amazing. And that's a close up of what it looks like. I hope you can see just how that came together and how everything really does fit so nicely and cleanly on the back. Now let me show you how I utilize some of the other pieces. So this Santa, as you can see, I did a bunch of ink blending, made him gray, but for the puffiness on his hat, I used white heat and fluff. And then I used the pops of color for his buttons, and I did use some gel pen on the Mrs. Claus. And then for this elf, what I used here was some snowfall texture paste, which is a translucent texture paste. So I loved adding that onto that elf hat and the little pom-pom up there. Now for the belt, there's not a die, I guess, to make the belt. I just cut out of gold cardstock and black cardstock the elements that would go to make the little slip piece on the back like we did with the reindeer. But I would just lay that over and, kind of glue the pieces there together and lop off what I don't need. So let me show you how I did the box. The deboss lines are already there. I'm going to use my bone folder to just kind of help crease really well the fold lines. There's this little itty bitty piece. It does fold in, and I just kind of tuck that with my finger and do that with the points that come together. And then I can move this into the shape that I want, which is going to go onto the back. So this is what that looks like. It just folds so easily in on itself, especially when you have those fine, sharp creases. So I have a paper pad that has this kind of journal card, and it's of course Christmas theme. And I thought, I don't use these a ton, but this is a really great way to use these. I think that this could be a fun way to add a little extra surprise or gift in a stocking. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the image and I'm just kind of elevating a little bit, putting some liquid adhesive sporadically around the tree here. And then I'm going to take some of my, glitter sequins and using my pickup tool, I'm just going to add those all over the tree. I then, for the top of the tree, I found some stars and they're three-dimensional, flat backed, and I'm just putting one of those right at the top. Just to kind of, again, add a little oomph. I love a little oomph. I flip it over and then I'm going to take the box piece that we created and I'm just going to glue that onto the back of this journal card. My idea for this was you could roll up some bills if you wanted to have a nice extra little stocking stuffer surprise, and you could put a little bit of cash in there if you wanted to. So I thought that would be a fun way to kind of have a little money holder. I take a sentiment that's I've already have in my stash and putting that on there. I didn't even use any foam to pop this up because my idea is to put it into a stocking. I also think it would be really cool to just do a bunch of the heads and put those as a background on a card with a fun sentiment. But there we have it, a fun new way and a versatile way to use an element from this candy cane companion die. I really hope that you enjoyed the ways that I showed you how you can just embellish some of these elements. And I think this is a really fun, interactive kind of way to bring in holiday spirit. Today's project used all of these elements, which is from the Candy Cane Companion die out by Pixi Dust Designs, to make all 5 of these candy cane holders, plus our little bonus right there. Easy, easy way. So, it doesn't have to be hard, especially if you're mass making. We do have the box element on the back as well as the, kind of slip element. I don't know what you call that for the back, but I call it a slip element because you're going to slip something through, and that's using those 2 pieces up at the top. And then I used one of the slip element pieces to do the belt for our Santa. I really hope that you enjoyed this project. Thank you for crafting along with me. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be made aware of when more crafty fun is to be had. Thanks so much again for joining, and take care. Bye-bye.